Okay, I think we are live. But I promised you guys a video on vision boards, and I'm sorry it's taking me so long, but I really wanted to make sure that I was prepared and explaining things right, because this isn't something that I want you to just rush through. I really like the idea of a vision board as opposed to a dream board, because I think oftentimes we think of dreams as being intangible and not real. Well, a vision it's clear. It's a direction that you want to go. And I want you to know that there are things in your life that you can't control. But the way that you choose to react and move forward, that's what's going to set you apart from everybody else. I personally believe that God plants little seeds and ideas inside of us, little desires of things that we want to do and accomplish. And while He has a plan for us, we get to decide which avenue we want to go. He doesn't want us to just sit back and let life happen to us. He wants us to make decisions and choose which path to go based on His plan for us. So that's how we grow. That's how we learn and accomplish those things. So very first is what I want you to think about is, how do you want to be remembered? When it comes time, think about your funeral. How do you want people to remember you? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? This part really helped me just really see what my priorities really are. Because in the grand scheme of things, this is what is of most importance to you. So for you to find your true happiness and to create the life that you envision, your goals need to align with these priorities, these things that really matter to your core. And some of these are going to come natural. You're not going to have to work at them hard. They're just a part of you. This is called your intrinsic priorities. So for some, let's just use health and fitness. It may come easy. They may not have to work hard at it. So it's just a part of them. But others, yes, it's still a priority, but they have to work extra hard. They need extra accountability. They need something to hold them accountable to. And these are where you're going to pull your goals from, because this is where you personally want to improve in your life. Just a second. Hey, can you take your stuff off on the carpet so you don't get the floor wet? And then if you, hey, quiet. So, are you going back outside? Okay, run fast. Sorry. So these priorities that you need accountability to, this is what you want to put on your vision board, because that's where you want to improve and get better on. So I want you to take this toy, for example, okay? So you've got all these little pieces in there. Okay. These shapes, these holes, these are going to represent your priorities, and these shapes that you're trying to fit in are going to represent your goals. Now, the analogy is, you know, as a baby learns, they're trying to learn their shapes and their colors, and they're going to find out that this pentagon isn't going to fit in this star. So no matter how hard they try, it's not going to fit. So if you want to feel wholesome and fulfilled with your goals, they need to fit your priorities. The analogy is that eventually they're going to learn that, oh, they can pry it open and shove it in, and, you know, they can cram everything in there, And I think that's what we do at the end of the day. Instead of making sure our goals and our priorities line up and fit and give us that satisfaction, we cram everything in there. And then we're just overwhelmed and filled with stuff instead of meaningful things. So make sure that as you're setting your goals, they honor your top priorities. So to help you figure out what these priorities are, I'm going to do a screen share real quick so that you can see this chart. Okay. Okay, so I want you to see your life today. And remember, don't rush through this. Start by remembering or thinking about how you want to be remembered. And then take these categories right here and circle the ones or mark the ones that are most important. It says right here, circle the ones that are most important ingredients in creating the life that you want. So if being a contribution to the world is something that you really value, then you're going to want to set goals to help you contribute to the world. If, having your financial situation, if you want to be financially stable, if that's really important right now in your life, then make sure that's one of your top priorities. So just go through. I'd probably mark 5 to 8. Personally, I think I did 6. And then after you pick your top ones, I want you to number them, put them in order of most important to lesser of importance. Because then you're going to be able to follow through with this next step. Let's see, this one right here. Okay, so once you have put them in order of what's important, that's going to help you divide up this circle right here. So, for example, if faith and family are the top 2 most important things in your life, you're going to want to divide up this pie chart so that it takes up a larger chunk of your priorities of your life. And then you're going to, those ones that are still very important to you, but maybe not as important as your family and your faith, you're going to make those triangles, those pie slices, a little bit smaller. So just take your time, reflect on how you want to be remembered, where your priorities, where you want your priorities to lie. This isn't based on where they actually are right now. This is where you want them to be. Once you've got that pie chart divided up, then you're going to rate them as to where they are right now. So this person, Faith, they feel like at this point on a scale from 1 to 10, their faith lies at an 8, while their financial situation is only about a 4. So they've got more work to do on their financial situation, but at the same time, they don't want to neglect their faith because it's a large chunk of their priorities. Does that make sense? So as you start to set your goals in a second, you're going to be able to evaluate and see how many goals you should set for each category, I guess is what the right term would be. Okay, so you divide up your pie chart, you figure out where you're at right now today. Now, if you're having a bad day, don't base it on today, but overall, in general, right now, rate the categories of where you feel like you are. Then, based on that, I want you to come up with 8 to 12 goals. And you can do it however you want, but I kind of evaluated where I was and then how strong I was in each area to determine how many goals to set. But it was roughly 2 to 3 goals per category. And I don't want to give you too many specifics because I want you to come up with your own goals without being influenced by me. But to start, just keep it basic. Don't get elaborate with your goals. We're going to take that in the next step. But for me, it was things like daily scripture study and prayer. I want to finish decluttering my house, build a stronger relationship with my husband, listen to my kids, just unplug. Maybe I said that. I don't remember what I said. But once you have those basic goals written down, then it's time to get more specific. I'm sure you've all heard of SMART goals before. So you've got specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and then time-bound. So get specific. For each one of those goals, break it down. What exactly does that goal mean to you? So if you want to have a stronger relationship with your spouse, what does that look like? If you want to be financially stable this year, what does that look like to you? Not to your neighbor, not to your mom, not to your best friend, to you. If you're struggling sticking to a grocery budget, that might be a good goal to have. Well, for somebody else, it might be to have X amount of money in the bank. So just make each goal very specific and know what it looks like to you personally. Then measurable. You've got to be able to evaluate along the way and measure your progress towards it. How often am I really unplugging and listening to my kids? For me, that means I need to put my phone on silent sometimes. That means I need to have a conversation with them when I tuck them in at night, not just give them a hug and a kiss and send them on their way. And then I can look back at the end of the week and be like, 1, do I feel a difference in our relationship? Or 2, am I looking back and realizing I didn't do my part and I fell into the old habits? So basically, how will you know that you've achieved that goal? Make it measurable. The next one is A, attainable. So it can't just be some abstract goal. That's, kind of, part of being specific. But also, if you're having a hard time just having money for groceries, you can't expect yourself to have $10,000 in your savings account by the end of the year, unless you're willing to make serious changes and sacrifices to get there. And I'm not saying that's not possible. You just have to be willing to work and to change and do what it takes to get to those big, hairy, scary goals. So just make sure that your goal is attainable and within the next year. So set benchmarks to meet along the way. And really, you should be doing that with all your goals. Set those benchmarks because goals should push you into being a better person, to helping you get to the next level. But you can't skip from level 1 to level 10 and expect it to just happen. You've got to break it down. And we're going to talk about that next week. Right now, I just want you to set your goals. R is relevant, so that's just going along with making sure that it aligns with your priorities. What are you eating? Oh, sorry, good. And then time bound. When exactly are you going to achieve these goals? Now, they don't all have to be accomplished on December 31st, 2017. Achieve them throughout the year. So for me, I want to declutter my house. My pool room kind of collects everything because I just send it down there so I don't have to look at it. I put my blinders on and pretend it's not there. But by the end of January, I want to make sure that, I mean, that's my last spot. It's the only place left in this house that has clutter. So that I want to have accomplished by January. Then in February, I want to be able to create office space for Ron and I. So that includes getting rid of the pool table, getting desks, and then just keeping on top of my cleaning and dejunking by adding it to my daily to-do list. So by March, this should be accomplished, and then I'm just maintaining it throughout the year. So let me give you the rundown one more time. Write it down. You want your goals to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. And I just want to add that you cannot set goals that are based on what other people do. So if you're basing your relationship goals on what you expect from the other person, you're going to come out feeling pretty lousy because it's not their goal. It's your goal. You're the one that has to change. Your goals need to be about you. So like I said, next week, I'm going to dig a little bit deeper on breaking things down so that you can actually accomplish them. But right now, focus on your vision. Focus on your outcome for the year. And get it on poster board, get it on paper, get it somewhere where you can see it and envision it every single day. I hope that helps. Like I said, don't rush through it because it's a process. It's about growing and learning and becoming, and it's going to change. So don't get frustrated with that, but just take your time and really, I don't know. I think in order for it to work, you have to get personal with yourself. So share your vision boards as you finish them. I think it'll be a great motivator for everybody else to finish theirs as they see yours.